Okay, welcome everyone. Give me a heads up, please, that you can hear me. Just type into the message that you can hear me. And you could see the chart. Okay, thanks, Frank. Can always count on Frank, without a doubt. Thank you very much. Okay, we are here today for magnets, a magnet tutorial. We're going to learn about how to use the magnet software. I also want to talk a little bit about reversal continuations because they're so important and they are really like a mini magnet. So I love reversal continuations also. They are why the magnet exists. And I just want to say hello to everyone. All right, that's me, just so you know, in my office saying hello. We're going to get started. Remember, magnets and reversals, setups for volatile markets. I'm Lee Goldstein, the trading director for 10-minute trades. Don't forget, it is possible to lose money trading futures. Don't trade money you can't afford to lose. Okay? Trade money that you can afford to lose and trade money that you want to build up into more money. That's the whole idea. That's why we're here. We trade appointment-based trading. We use futures, the Ninja Trader platform. When I talk about trading stocks, I'm not talking about trading the stock itself. We're talking about trading futures. And we watch the stock prices when we do earnings, but we actually trade futures. Our software is written for the Ninja Trader platform. So please just understand that's very important. People want to trade options on earnings and they get very confused, but we trade futures. So just a heads up. Couple of minutes just going over what we are at 10-minute trades, then we'll get right into the magnet. At 10-minute trades, we said we do appointment-based trading, affectionately known as ABT. All right, ABT, appointment-based trading. We have a system, we have our software, we have a group of elements that make up our whole system. There's been a little bit of confusion on the name of the software. There are still references to JOBB. Our original company name was JOBB, J. Offner Bracket Breakout. Jay is the owner of the company. Eric's one of the owners of the company. J. Offner Bracket Breakout was the original name many years ago. And we did go through a couple of name changes, not because we were like avoiding refunds or anything crazy like that, or people were leaving bad reviews, but we were always looking for like the perfect name. I got here like 8 years ago, and we were called, like I said, it was JOBB. And then we changed our name for a while to News Traders, and we had a nice website, newstraders.com. And then we came upon 10-minute trades, and we've been pretty happy with 10-minute trades. We recently updated the name of our software to News Trader, and we just haven't spent a lot of time or a lot of money promoting the new name. But when you download the main first strategy, the breakout, reverse continuations, that's part of now News Trader. But deep inside, it's still called JOBB. So if you ever see a reference for JOBB 11, don't worry, that's News Trader. You're all good. As long as you just follow. If you ever download the software, the current version is always on the website. And we also send out a PDF when someone joins. If you join or you're new or you want to get restarted, we'll always send you the PDF with the correct links. So you never really have to worry. We have 5 elements. Sometimes we talk about 4 elements. Today we're going to talk about 5 elements that make up our 10-minute trade system. WMM is the weekly market mover. Everybody loves the weekly market mover. I got the nicest email this week. A woman who had taken some trials and has been a member. She just thanked me for sending out the weekly market mover to her every week. It gives her a very nice heads up as to what's going to happen in the market in the upcoming week. This week was very slow, and actually there was still plenty of action. I think people made plenty of money this week. We had some great trades. AMD earnings. I missed the bulk of the trade because it was very choppy before the trade. But I'm going to show you a screenshot from one of our members, because the key is this. You got to remember, it's so important. One of the best things about our software is our software has features that help you to manage your trade. So we have an adjust button. And if you press the adjust button, you can delay getting filled. And I'm actually going to show you the real trade. But Doc, down in the villages, who's often one of our best traders every week because he's been with us for a long time and he really knows what he's doing, he made like $1,200 on the AMD trade. And I was talking about the weekly market mover. On the weekly market mover, we let everyone know we're trading AMD earnings at a very specific time on Tuesday. And the weekly market mover is our weekly schedule. It has our trade room schedule, when the room opens. It has the time of the event we're trading. We call that the trigger time. The actual trigger itself, which is just the news event that we're trading. And then what the index is that we're trading. Is it the Swiss franc, copper futures, the NQ futures, oil futures, currency futures, all sorts of futures that we trade? They're all just as easy as one to trade. Just because you never traded grain futures doesn't mean you can't trade them in a moment. If you've traded oil futures, it's no problem. Futures are futures. And then we often have notes, little bit of notes on the weekly schedule. If there's low liquidity, we like to give you a warning. We also let you know what reports we're streaming on Facebook, on YouTube. Also, we have a new thing called educational rooms. Sometimes there are events where the setups are not performing well, and they're performing, or maybe it's a new setup and we want to teach about it. So an educational room is a room where we might not be trading money, or we might not be trading cash or our prop account. We might just be teaching. And so those are educational rooms. And when it says watch on our weekly schedule, that means we're keeping a special eye on this report. It might be a new event that we're watching. It might be an event that has fallen out of favor and we're watching it to see if it starts behaving better again. Or it might just be something we're thinking about trading in the near future. So element number one, very important, the weekly schedule. Our element number two is the daily market mover. And I'll tell you something, the daily market mover is very often, not always, but about 85% of the time, it's the key to making money in our trade room. Yesterday, we had the FOMC, and on our daily market mover is a very important piece of information. There's a note, and the note says, get rid of this silly thing. The note says, FOMC statement, our ES trap trade has almost 2 years of success, but a surprise rate change could damage that record, but no rate change is expected. We recommended, we of course told everyone how much volatility and risk we thought there could be, but we were trading the ES trap trade. Now, we're not really here to talk about the trap trades today. We've had separate webinars on the trap trade. Very simply, the trap trade is a special reversal trade. When we trade a trap trade on the FOMC statement using the ES futures, what we expect is when the news is released exactly at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we expect if the market goes up, we're going to go short. If the market goes down, we're going to go long. We're going to do the opposite of the move. And we have had month after month after month of successful trap trades on the FOMC statement using that setup. And yesterday was no different. People made a significant amount of money trading the FOMC statement yesterday. But more important, even more the best part, is today I wanted to talk about reversal continuations. It's one of the most important things we do in very volatile markets. There's two major times that we use reversal continuations. One of them is right after news. You get a news event, and very often over the years we have seen over and over again that there will be a reversal or a continuation right after the news. More often than not, we get a reversal. So what the reversal continuation is, it's a very, very simple strategy that lets you just add it to your chart, and I'll show you how to do it in a couple of minutes. You can add it to your chart and then very easily take an extra trade after what might be on our DMM or what might be in an earnings trade. So it's a way that you always have a trade, an extra trade ready so that you can make more money after the original news. So on yesterday's FOMC, for instance, first thing, we get to the trade room and we show all our members the DMM. And the DMM has an NQ and an MNQ setup that we talked about, and it has our trap trade setup. But when the trap trade was finished, and the trap trade was awesome, watch what happens. We have two orders above the price, two orders below the price. The orange arrow is the current price. The news comes out, and almost immediately, it chops for a couple of seconds, and then watch what happens. The price goes down, and we get filled long. It immediately reverses and starts shooting up. I exit the trade for an instant $600 profit, and then immediately put on a reverse continuation to the short side. The reversal continuation is a discretionary setup. It takes less than a minute to set one up, and we set them up before the news event takes place. And again, when I show you our charts, I'll show you how easy it is to set it up. But the point is, so after our main trade, which was the trap trade, remember what I said, the news comes out, whatever the market does, we're doing the opposite on the news announcement. The market went down, so we went long. We got our immediate profit. It's not always immediate. In this case it was, but we felt very strongly, or I felt very strongly, the market was heading down. So after our trap trade was over, in my prop account, Bullinox, I pressed the button, instant short. When we set up a reverse continuation, it gives us two simple buttons, instant long or instant short. I press the instant short button, puts me in the market with a target and a stop. I was trading the ES full size. The market started pushing down. I got it right. I don't always get it right. Scalping is hard. I then moved my stop immediately to safety because it moved so much. I was in profit. $300. We were just counting it in hundreds. $400. It kept going. I expanded my target. Originally, I was going to take a trade just to the low. The red dotted line is the low of day. The market kept going. This reversal continuation, which in our case was a reversal because our original trade was long, we took the short and the market just kept moving down. It even went through the low of the day and kept going. You could see the MNQ was doing the same thing. Very often there's more than one instrument that can make you money with a similar setup. Reverse continuation discretionary setup can be used with any instrument you like to trade. By the time we were done, we more than doubled our profit on that trade. It was over $800 in profit. So we had about $1,500 just on the FOMC alone. And that was in a matter of 7 minutes of trading. That was a fabulous FOMC trade. Now, look, we lost 70 bucks on the MNQ breakout, but everybody in the room that also traded the micro MES trap trade, they made money as well. It was a very, very successful FOMC trade. And again, our trap trade has had month after month after month of winning setups. There's almost the same setup for the past 2 years. That's reversal continuations, part of the news trader software suite. Remember, we said we had 5 elements: the weekly schedule, the daily market mover, trade room access. I can't speak more importantly about seriously about how important trade room access is. What we do in the trade room is first of all, we're constantly looking for extra bonus trades with all the tweeting and all the talking about tariffs. We were waiting this morning for the British tariff announcement, and unfortunately it was late. But also, we knew, because we watch news and we listen to news and we use various calendars, we knew that the report we were trading this morning was going to be late. The Bank of England rate statement, we heard it was going to be 2 minutes late. And so we were prepared. We weren't sitting with our orders on the chart 2 minutes early, fiddling our thumbs, worrying about getting filled in a market that was moving way too much. Also, the market went and tested the low of the day right before our trade. Let me show you, this was such a volatile trade. We actually recommended that most people shouldn't trade it. We were worried that it could damage their accounts. It was so volatile. Let me see if I could find my video. 2 seconds. So it was the Bank of England. What happened was they were celebrating VE Day, the end of World War II. So they had a 2 minute delay on the news this morning, the Bank of England rate statement. So let me grab that. Let me grab that setup. I just want to show you how volatile it was, because it was extreme volatility. And that's why we're here today. Very often, even our regular breakout trades are fine and safe for extreme volatility because we test them. We test the size of the brackets and we test our stops. And members made some mistakes today that I would like to always prevent them from making. A lot of traders believe, one of the most common mistakes that traders make, they think incorrectly that if you make your stop smaller, it reduces your risk because you lose less money. If you have a $20 tick stop and it's $1 a tick, that's a $20 stop. If you use a 15 tick stop, sometimes it's a $15 stop instead of 20. So if the trade goes wrong, yes, you lose less money. But if the trade is choppy in such a way that it needs a 20 tick stop so you could stay in the trade in case it's choppy, wouldn't you rather use a bigger stop, stay in the trade, survive the choppiness so you can make money when it goes your way? Bigger stops in general are often safer than smaller stops. Especially if you're trading with us and looking at our daily market movers, if the daily market mover has a 20 stop, never think that changing the stop to a 10 stop will make the trade safer. It will often make the trade riskier because smaller stops have a higher probability of getting hit, and smaller stops mean that you will have more losing trades if the news event is choppier than usual. So the stop should never be shrunk. If anything, if the testing shows that it makes sense, use the biggest stop you can use. And always, during a trade, you can shrink your stop if need be. There used to be an old wives' tale that said, never touch your stop, never touch your stop. It's not true. There are plenty of times when you're going to change the stop. And of course, we do understand that there are times when sometimes you'll move the stop and you'll cut off some of the profit on your trade. One of the most difficult aspects of all trading, not just our trading, but one of the most difficult aspects is the trade management. What do you do with your targets? What do you do with your second target if your first target gets hit? Should you make it bigger? Should you shrink it? What do you do with your stop if your first or second targets get hit? Should you move it to break even? Should you move it to break even minus a certain amount of ticks? That's called trade management. Hardest part of trading. It's easy to enter a trade. It's easy to exit a trade. It's easy to get stopped out of a trade, right? It's hard to manage a trade. And you have to understand the ins and outs of various reports so you could try and do it in the best possible way. And you also have to accept sometimes it's just random and you get a lucky break. Sometimes the market punishes you for no reason. Sometimes it rewards you for no reason. And that's just all part of trading. So that I just want to show you this British trade because our breakout trade almost got us filled on the wrong side just by a tick. Right before the news came out on the event, on the rate statement, this was the British pound futures, the red dotted line, which relates to what we're talking about today. That's a magnet. That magnet was pulling the price. It was testing that magnet, the low of the day, before the news, which often happens. And remember, we knew the news was going to be 2 minutes late, but some of our members actually thought, wow, maybe the news came out early because it was such a big move. We checked and it was 29 ticks, which is a tradable move for a news report. But we were told the news was coming late. We hung in. Anybody that decided to still keep trading this report hung in because it was volatile. It made a new low, a bigger low, and then 20 seconds now, we're 15 seconds before the news. Watch what happens. Never try to guess the direction of a news trade. Yes, I thought in my mind I wanted to go short, but I didn't tell the software to take me short. I let it put me in the market, whatever direction the software puts me in the market, depending upon how the news moved the market. The news came out, they lowered the rate, which was expected, but it was still volatile. Amazingly, we got a little bit of a break. The market actually went through our short order, didn't fill it, allowed us to get filled long, and then we trailed and trailed and trailed and trailed and trailed and made quite a nice multi-$100 profit on the Bank of England rate statement. Even our breakouts can be safe in extreme volatility, but I do love trading reversals and I love the magnet trades. So let's hop right to the magnets, all right? I'm going to stop the slides for a minute. I'm going to go right to the charts and I'm going to teach you about the magnet trade. So let's do that right now. Let me stop this. All right, I can't get rid of this stupid screen. Hang on from this crazy word processor. Let's see if this will get rid of it. There we go. All right. So this is our Ninja Trader charts. Right now the markets are live. Gold already made a bunch of magnets. This is the gold futures chart. This is the YM futures chart over here on the right. Tell you what I'll do. I'm going to put the MES on the right. Everybody loves trading the ES. Okay. And I'm going to put micro gold on the left because I love trading gold. MGC 0625. And I will show you how easy and quick it is to set up a magnet. So let's say, first of all, what's a magnet trade? On the charts, we teach our members how to set up their charts exactly like ours. So they have at least a couple of charts. When I say a chart, that's a chart. They have a couple of charts that they can use that look just like ours. And what we put on those charts are the low of day, pivots, okay, and also the VWAP. Where's the VWAP? Here it is. All of those are free indicators. They're part of the NinjaTrader platform. We also usually have volume on our chart. And then we have the squeeze on our chart, which we use very often to help us sometimes after the news, usually not before it too often. The squeeze, not free, but very inexpensive, and we can always show you where to find a squeeze for NinjaTrader. Squeeze was popularized by John Carter and Hubert Centers many years ago, and it's still popular to this day because it's a great momentum indicator. But what are magnets? Magnets are very popular levels on the charts that lots and lots of traders look at. That's why they are magnets. Because they are areas that lots and lots of traders look at, they're areas that are always getting tested constantly throughout the day. The beauty of magnets and the beauty of that type of trading is you know how markets change, you know how charts change, you know how you might have an end of the day trade that's working great right now. Well, it may not work great a month from now. Well, magnets are not like that. Magnets have been working since the beginning of time. They will probably work until the end of time, and that's because traders will always look at the high of day and the low of the day. They'll always look at pivots. It's just the nature of trading. Those are parts of trading that are taught always as essential stepping stones in trading. So you have the high of day and the low of day. You've got your pivots, and then we add the VWAP, okay? Now, we have two magnet trade systems, but don't forget, the reason those levels on the charts are magnets is because they act like a magnet. They suck the price, they pull the price into them. And the idea is, remember, a magnet is your exit. The magnet is the exit. Now, it can be the exit for your first target, and you could then trade through a magnet, which is ultimately the best way to trade a great magnet. Don't always exit at the magnet, okay? Because very often trades will break the magnet and keep going, especially when it's creating a new low or a new high for the first time. Those areas are magnets because traders are always putting tons of orders around those areas. Where do traders put their stops and their buys? Around the pivots, around the highs and lows, around the Fibonacci's they love to use, around the VWAP. That's why they're magnets. When traders put all those orders there, behavior can be expected at those areas. Or to put it better, expected behavior happens around those areas. So, a reminder, it's very important, magnets are the exits. Always remember that, magnets are the exits. So we have two magnet systems. My favorite magnet system, but it's not the only one, my favorite magnet system is the high of day, low day magnets. The red dotted line is the high of day. The green dotted line is the low of day, sorry. The green dotted line is the high of day. If you want to make it red, you could change the colors. The high of day, low of day is a simple indicator built into NinjaTrader, and the one we use is called current day OHL, open, high, low, and it puts the open, previous open, 6 p.m. open, we should say, previous open, not the 9:30. That's the open we use, the previous, and it puts the high of day and low of day on the chart. You can configure it if you want to. There's not a whole heck of a lot of configuration to do to an open, high, and low. You can just basically change the colors, and you can also decide with all of your magnets where you're going to calculate them from. And this is an important concept. The default, when you set up a chart for the first time as a new user on NinjaTrader, you're faced with this data. It shows you a chart. Its default is a 1-minute chart, 5 days of data loading in, trading hour template, use instrument settings. And that's very important. When you set up NinjaTrader for the first time as a default new user, the trading hour template is set to default, as is a 1-minute chart is default, and the end date is the default, but the most important default for magnets is use instrument settings. The other important setting that we often use is default 24/7. These are just trading hour templates. They have no effect on a setup if you're just trading for an entry or an exit, but they can affect a magnet trade because if you use the default instrument settings, use instrument settings trading hour default, what that means is your pivots, your magnets, your levels that require price, those indicators are going to calculate from the previous evening's open at 6 p.m. You can change those trading hour defaults to other more specialized times, but you don't want to get too cute, right? If you trade to a time that no one else looks at, your magnets aren't going to work as well as they'll work if you use the default. Anytime you have default settings, traders that don't know how to modify their charts, they're going to wind up with those settings. So more and more and more traders have the high of day and the low of day set to use instrument settings. So that's the setting we use for our initial magnet trade setups. If you notice, if you scroll back in time on micro gold started testing, when you go back far in time, you'll start to see at what time of day did the low get tested, right? This red line here, 1:55 in the morning, there was a magnet trade when it tested, and look how much it burst through the low. And if you just go through gold and watch its behavior, you can scroll a 1-minute chart, you could trade a 5-minute magnet, you don't have to trade a 1-minute. If you like more of a trending kind of trade, you could trade a larger time frame. But just going through gold, it didn't make a new magnet. It was at 1:30 in the morning roughly. It's still at 6 in the morning. There had been no new magnet trades. So when I see that, I get excited because then I think the next magnet is going to be a good one. If I would have used the VWAP, which is a favorite magnet trade, that happens to be a custom magnet. I'll show you how to set that up in a minute. The VWAP did a magnet trade on the open. It was actually the market open at 9:30 that created that VWAP perfect magnet trade. But it started way back at 8:55 really, or really, if you look, the perfect start of that magnet was probably 9:25. That was a really good time to start thinking seriously about that magnet, right about here, 9:25. The market at 8:50-ish started heading up. It did a fairly decent sized pullback for gold. Okay, gold is $10 a tick, so you do want to use decent sized stops on magnet trades. It's one reason we love micros, but just analyzing the chart a little bit, and we don't do a lot of chart analysis. This is the most simple chart analysis that you'll ever do in trading, looking just for highs and lows. The market goes up, pulls back a little bit, boom, it goes to the VWAP and it does a perfect magnet and it pulls back. But I'm still waiting for my high of day, low of day magnet, because that's actually my favorite. Nothing happening, the market opens, we get into lunchtime, and you notice gold starts selling off big time. Trump had a big announcement today, more tariff talk. Boom. Causes the magnet, that news, I believe, caused the magnet to eventually take place. The normal markets, like the indexes, ES, NQ, YM, were going up. Gold often goes in the opposite direction. One of the things you can look at when you're trading magnets is if you're trading a gold magnet, watch the ES and the YM or the NQ. If they're going up and gold's going down, that's a good indicator your magnet's going to work if you're looking for a short. All right, so you notice gold was a really nice magnet short this morning. So let me show you how easy it is to set up a magnet trade. Go back to the current charts. This is micro gold. This is the MES. MES is where I'm going to set it up because it almost looks like we're getting a real trade. Right click the chart, click on strategies, click on magnet trade. High of day, low of day is the system we're trading. Percent proximity. All you do is type in 5 and you can leave it there. You can always use 5 or a lower number. Position size, it's the MES. I'm going to make it 2 positions. All I'm going to do is change my stop for now to 40. All right. Choose an account to trade in. I'm going to trade in my Apex account. First, let me apply this trade and OK it. Connect my prop accounts, Bullinox and Apex, connecting them as we speak. Apex. I had rebooted before the webinar. I often reboot just to clean everything out. Now, my magnet trade is already on my control panel, but I didn't finish configuring it. Right-click the chart, go to strategies, high of day, low of day, percent proximity is just 5. You'll see what that means in a second. I've got 2 positions. They're both going to exit in the same place because I don't have a position 2. Position 2 right now is 0. Okay? I have a 40 tick stop. Longs or shorts are allowed. And I've chosen my Apex account to trade this. Okay? Trade it for real if I want to. Now, right now it doesn't look like it's going to take place. So I'm going to trade it in sim for a minute just so I can show you the real trade fully, but I don't want to enter it with money at the moment. Apply it and OK it. Make sure that my chart trader is on sim. All right. And now, when I turn on the magnet trade by enabling it, clicking the enable button, I get my magnet icon, which tells me the software machine ID has been enabled. So when you become a member, you send us your machine ID and we enable it. But it also shows me my magnet entry, which I can grab and move with my left mouse button. Let's say I really want to trade this. All right. I'm turning it off and I'm not going to blow up my account if I lose some money here. So I'm going to trade it with real money. I'll trade it just with 1 position. Okay, I'll be a chicken. I'll trade it with 1 position instead of 2. So if it goes against us, I won't lose that much money. All right, apply it and OK it. Well, right now it's still not bursting up. I turn on the trade by enabling it, right? That turns it on. Make sure your chart trader is on the account your software is using. So, magnet entry button shows me my target, which is the magnet or very close to it. Okay, it's 57.40. That's our magnet. It's actually 57.41. The thick line is our entry. 5% proximity. The -3 is default, and what it means is exit all magnet trades -3 ticks before you get to the actual magnet. So remember, the magnet is the high of day. If the high of day is 57.41, gold would exit 3 ticks before 57.41. That would be 57.38, 3 ticks before. We wrote the software so that the default is getting out of the trade 3 ticks before you get to the magnet. Just because years and years of trading highs and lows, many trades will just barely get to the high or low. Other trades will often blast through it also. Okay? Now, I can leave the orders where the magnet software puts it. Remember, I chose percent proximity. If that proximity was 10, that's further away from the magnet, from the exit. So it's, watch, it's much lower down. It's further away. All right? It's a little bit too far. I don't trust the market to enter right here. But if I did want to enter right here and my orders were far away, but I thought the market was bursting up, maybe news just came out and I was sure the market was going long, I could click this Enter Now button and it'll put me in the trade long because we're closest to the high of day. It's always a good idea if you're trading and you think you might do something discretionary, like enter early, turn off the direction you don't want to enter. So if I press the short button, it turns off the short so I can only go long. All right? The other button that we have, if I want this trade to be fully automated, I just press the magnet entry button. When it's purple, it will fully automate the trade and it will enter at the thick line and it'll exit automatically 3 ticks before the magnet. If I don't want to automate, I can watch, and when we get to the magnet, it'll turn purple and I can press the button and enter. Watch. When it bursts through, it makes a sound, turns purple. If I then press the button, it'll put me in the trade. Now, I don't want to enter here. It's a little bit early. I don't want to, I feel I'll lose money. If you're testing and you get a signal, reset the trade, okay? Reset the trade. I recommend keeping the proximity at 5, okay? That's pretty close to the magnet, and that's the idea of a magnet. The market's moving. It's moving up, moving up, moving up. As you get close and closer to the real magnet, that's when you want to enter. If you want to do something else and automate the trade, just press the magnet button and you have an automatic magnet trade. That's how simple it is to trade the high of day, low of day magnet. If you want 2 orders and you want to set up an order so if it goes above the magnet, it's very easy to do. Just uncheck the enabled box so you can make changes. Add a second position, position 2. How many contracts? If it's only 1, you type the number 1. And then the target 2, let's say you want it to go 10 ticks above the magnet. You would just say 10. And now, instead of 2 positions on 2 contracts on position 1, I have 2 separate targets. One target is going to exit 3 ticks before the magnet. My second target is going to exit 10 ticks above the magnet, or below if it's a short. Apply it, okay it, and now enable the magnet trade by clicking the enabled box. I think the ES is going to test this level. So if I really believe that, I could turn on the magnet trade right now. It's a little choppy, honestly. We're not getting that push that I'd really like to see. Do I want to risk, 50 to $100 in my Apex account while we're doing the webinar? What do you think? I think it's heading up, but I want to teach you how to do the reverse continuation first, all right? I'm going to leave this magnet ready to trade, okay? So I'm going to just uncheck it. I don't have to do anything with it. If I want, I could leave it even more ready to trade, leave it enabled, and when it makes the sound, I could come back and watch the chart, okay? On my left chart, I've got micro gold. I just want to show you some levels. So we've got some levels, okay? Let's say that you like trading the VWAP. We love custom level magnets. All right? We love custom level magnets. Click the magnet trade. Magnet trade enabled, change from high of day, low of day to custom level. So simple. So simple. If you like trading the VWAP, okay, just note the VWAP 3363. That's its level. Type it in. 3363. That's my exit. My stop is going to be 30 ticks. And my target is going to be, let's say, 20 ticks. All right, we're going to use a 20 tick target. And we're just trading two positions, same, two contracts, one position, two contracts, one position, position size 1 is a 1. 3363 is our magnet, custom level. We can trade that in a different prop account if we decide we want to trade it for real. All right, so I'll put it on one of my prop accounts that's made money today. Label it MGC. Very important to label your magnet trades. That's my MGC. Apply it and OK it. Watch what happens when I enable it. This is the VWAP right there. That's our magnet. When I enable it, let me get the clock out of the way, I get a heavy line right at the VWAP. But remember what we said, the VWAP, the magnet, is our exit. So we want to move our order. The magnet trade, the beauty of it, lets us put our order before we get to the VWAP. Okay? The heavy line is the order. You can move it. All of the things I showed you before can be used to trade a custom level VWAP. Any level magnet. If you use Fibonacci's and you like the 50% pullback, just note what that level is, type it in, and create a magnet trade around 50% pullbacks. If you like Elliott waves, and you're Elliott, and you might even understand how an Elliott wave works, and you can even tell where an Elliott wave might be, you could use the Elliott wave level or levels to create a custom magnet. In this instance, we use the VWAP. We can turn the magnet trade on automatic when it's purple. When price gets up towards the VWAP, it will enter the trade automatically and execute the trade as we set it up. Folks, that's the magnet trade. It's so simple. It's unbelievable. So you can tell it what direction. It's a good idea, especially if you're trading custom. If I know I'm taking a trade above where I am, I'll turn off the short, okay? And that way, if the market explodes in the opposite direction, particularly on a high of day, low of day magnet, if it explodes, I don't want to accidentally get filled in the wrong direction that I wanted to be filled in. Sometimes a market will change direction so dramatically, you might want to get filled in a direction you weren't initially thinking. and the high of day, low of day magnet sets the trade up for both the high of day and the low of day simultaneously. Now notice, you do want to have a little bit of knowledge of price action to help you determine whether or not you wanted to get into that magnet trade with the enter now button, right? You can use the squeeze. Remember I said the squeeze can be helpful, especially on a 15-second chart. The squeeze, I love the squeeze on a 30-second chart because the signals are very nice. Notice you're starting to get down signals, downward momentum on the squeeze, and it's starting to go down. But it doesn't always work, okay? You don't always get perfect signals. You want to keep that in mind. Signals are never perfect. Something just caused a little bit of a burst in volume. There are tools that we are constantly showing to our members and teaching our members. And one of the main tools that we always use is calendars. And Financial Juice Pro is the best calendar for day trading the news because they have a squawk box that we use and they have a news feed that we're always watching. All right, it's absolutely vital to keep it open at all times when you're trading, and that way you'll know why there was a spike in volume most of the time. Sometimes nobody knows, but very often something gets said. Okay, Navarro made a comment just a second ago, a minute ago. The UK deal offers a template. I'm going to proceed. That's if Besant doesn't override Navarro. You know, Navarro, everyone knows, is pretty much an isolationist trader when it comes to tariffs. And, you know, he's not someone that everybody agrees with. So maybe the market didn't like that comment, all right? And that brings in, maybe you want to have reversal continuations set up on all your charts. Look how easy it is to set up a reversal continuation. And you can have a reversal continuation set up on the same chart that you have a magnet set on. So I've got my MES scalping chart here, right? Right-click the chart, click strategy, add another strategy to the chart, click News Trader, trade type, reverse continuation. Choose it. We're only trading micros, so let's say we want one contract and we're going to have one contract for each position. We're going to have two positions. Our first target is 15 ticks. Our second target, 30 ticks. We're using a 30-tick stop. Okay, reversal continuation. If my first target gets hit, my software can automatically move my stop to break even if I want it to. It's called target one stop move. If I type in BE for break even, it will automatically move the stop to break even. All I have to do now is just tell the software what account do you want to trade the reversal in. Same chart as my magnet because I don't want to be fumbling around changing charts for different setups. So Apex right now is my reversal continuation, and then label the trade MES reversal continuation. Why do we label it? When you apply it and OK it, it shows up in the control panel and it has its label MES reverse continuation. When you turn on a reverse continuation, by clicking and checking the box, you get an instant long and an instant short button. If I think this market's going up, I press the instant long button, okay? And if it goes up, I'm going to make money on this trade. If it goes down, I'm going to lose money. I can move my orders, okay? I can move my stop. into an area that I think is safe. If I think the trade's not working, right? Like right now, it's not working. I have a feature that will combine my orders into one order so I can move them more easily, right? If I don't like the way the trade's going, I could move my stop almost to the to the price action. Now it's changing direction. Maybe I'll try to hang out for a couple more ticks. You don't know this was just a random trade. Don't crucify me because I wanted to show you a real trade, okay? That's how fast you could put on a reversal continuation. If I think long was the wrong direction and I really feel, look, the squeeze is pushing up, I'm not sure I want to go against it right now, let's wait. I might want to wait. Wait for a better opportunity where the market is moving a little bit more strongly towards that high of the day. And then I can take the trade again. Okay? Two really great setups that we love using at 10-minute trades. Magnets, reversals, continuations. Let me show you one magnet that really worked nicely, just so you know that, we're not making this stuff up. I can show you hundreds of trades, like we showed at the beginning of the webinar, but that's not why we're here today. The goal was to teach you how to put magnets on, how to use the software. We do have a class, a magnet master class that goes over all the nuances of the trade. Let me just show you one magnet that is beautiful, a beautiful, perfect magnet. The most perfect, most beautiful magnet. Let's see what we got. We got ourselves a gold magnet. I love gold. It's my favorite instrument to trade magnets on. So here you can see we were in our prop account. Gold had been moving up, looked like it was going to make a new high of the day. It got pretty choppy against us, and then it started going back in our direction. Went against us again. You had to have some serious patience. Boom, boom, through the magnet. All right, that was a perfect magnet trade. Now, if you notice, great times to trade magnets around the news, around market opens, around those key areas of time that move price action really, really well. Okay? Now, any questions? I hope you enjoy these weekly webinars. We do these webinars every single week. There's lots of new people that come into these webinars and watch us. So we always want to make an offer so that you have the opportunity to join us if you're not a member of 10-minute trades. It's so incredibly reasonably priced to join with us. And don't forget, you can trade in a prop account. We just passed an eval yesterday in our Bullinox account. A whole bunch of members passed evals on that FOMC trade that I showed you. I showed you today the magnet and reverse continues are great ways to trade volatility, all right? That's great ways. If you don't feel comfortable trading breakouts and trap trades because you think the markets are too crazy, it's fine. We have multiple ways of trading news in our software if you want to trade with even lower risk. Magnets and reverse continues, you can trade them after the news. So you don't have to take the highest risk, the highest volatility trades. You can lower your volatility by trading right after the news. Sometimes right before the news is a good time to trade also. So if you'd like to join us for the next month and learn and use our software, come into the trade room, get everything a pro member gets, the news trader software, daily market movers, the trade reports. We send them out the day before the event so you can look at how we're going to trade tomorrow's events. You're going to get those daily market movers. Also, Pro Trade Room subscription. Come into the trade room anytime. We leave the trade room open all day. You get the trap trade software. Like we said over and over, trade in a prop, trade cash, trade sim, trade any way you want. $20.25. Folks, it is silly. It's silly for us to offer this price. It does renew 97 a month after 30 days. It's so simple to cancel though. All you have to do is send an email. Hey Lee, please cancel my service. I don't want to do it. All right? No big deal. We'll still let you come back. People always come back. www.gopro25.com. This deal is going to expire tomorrow night, and then it's going to go back to 97 a month. All right? It's a great deal. I don't understand why more and more people don't join with us. We're going to teach you about earnings. Let me show you our members. I showed members trade, right? I showed you that he made $1,500 trading AMD. 1,200. Sorry, I stand corrected. In his Apex account. In his Apex account. All right. You can trade in prop, and I love trading cash. Ultimately, I prefer cash the most, but you got to be careful in these markets. What's great about prop is the ability to take extra risk, because what's the worst that happens in a prop account? You have to spend 39 bucks to reset it. Isn't that better than losing $200 on a trade that didn't work because the market was just not safe to trade because the volatility was off the charts? Sometimes you can still trade prop and have good trades. But you want to be smart in these markets no matter what you do, no matter what setup, no matter what company you're trading with. Trade smart, trade carefully, have a good mentor, be in a trade room where somebody cares about what happens to you. And that, in my opinion, is probably the best part of 10-minute trades. So www.gopro25.com. If you have any problems at all, just send us an email, help@10minutetrades.com. Let me just shoot that over to everyone. And we answer our email, all day long. I'm on email, off and on. So you'll always get good answers. Roz just said, so Roz is in this trade room, all right? And I'm not making this up. Roz just typed in, for what it's worth, Lee is the best mentor ever. So all I can say is thank you, Roz, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That means a lot because I really care about what happens to everybody in the trade room. So let me just type, not back in 3 minutes, but if you have further questions, help@10minutetrades.com. More than happy to answer your questions. All right? I can't help it that some of the software I use is stupid, but it is. There we go. Help@10minutetrades.com. www.gopro25.com to join with us. Everybody, I'll see you in the trade room. I don't see any other questions. This was a very nice little webinar on how to use the magnet trade and the all-important reverse continuation part of our software. Okay, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the trade room. Take care. See you soon.